Hey, it's Shahara. Welcome back to my channel. So I started a video the other day, but stuff happened and I couldn't finish. My iPad was low and stuff. So I'm gonna do it now. I did top 7 Buffy finales. Now I'm doing top 8 Charm finales. Okay. Number that's my favorite though. Number 8 is Witch Way. That's what it's called, right? Yeah, Witch Way Now, season 4. I noticed that in my Buffy video, the last one was also from season 4. But this episode I actually like. I didn't like the one from Buffy, but it's still not the best finale. I mean, I do kind of like the Buffy finales better because there's like this big battle at the end of each one. Charm, not so much. You know, like it's like on Buffy each season they're fighting a lot of different demons on different episodes, but the main demon from that season is what they have, is the goal to get to at the end of the series or season. Here it's not exactly like that. They have different demons they have to face at the end of each season. I would have loved to see a Barber's face down at the end of a season because he's one demon they could never defeat, like for real. But this one is basically this is when they meet an angel of destiny and gives them the opportunity to give up their powers. Paige did not want to because she only been a witch for a year. After everything Piper and Phoebe went through, they were ready to give up their powers. But when they temporarily did lose their powers, they couldn't help someone and they had to be human while helping people, and they realized that they couldn't do it because it was just too much for them. They wanted to help people and they realized that without magic they wouldn't be able to, and so they kept their magic. 7, Be Careful What You Wish For, season 2. This is when they meet a genie, and genies are tricksters. If you make a wish, the genie, if you're not careful and exact with your wishes, a genie will switch them up and change what you thought you wanted. Like Prue almost dies because she made a wish that she could only get by being 17 years old, and she was a troubled 17-year-old, so she got into some trouble and she almost died, and because that was before she was a witch, so she couldn't protect herself. She didn't have any knowledge of witchcraft, and she didn't understand why Piper and Phoebe looked so old, and she didn't know who Leo was because before all that happened, she only had the memories up until she was 17. And like Dan, Piper made a wish to make him get on with his life, and that made him really old, which is not what she intended for it to be. What was Phoebe's wish? She made a wish, didn't she? Because they all 3 made a wish, I'm pretty sure. What was Phoebe's? I don't remember. I just remember Prue's and Piper's because they really backfired. 6 is Deja Vu All Over Again, season 1. That episode was sad. It's when they had to face Rodriguez, and he was switching back time, and Phoebe was the only one aware of it because of her power of premonition. Each time they switched back time, she knew a little bit more what was going on until finally she was completely lucid because this happened all before. I mean, at first it was just little things that was triggering. Hey, wait, didn't we already do this? This is also familiar from the news lady on the channel TV, or from their cat kit knocking over a pepper or a salt shaker, one of the two. And it's like, she was like, wait a minute, this is all too familiar. And then with Prue in the newspaper about Andy losing his job or whatever, and then Phoebe gets permission saying that Andy's gonna die, and Prue warns him, but he goes anyways because that's the kind of person he is, which is something that Daryl, Piper, and Phoebe were all told Prue in the next episode. And they had to vanquish Rodriguez, even meaning that, and even that meant Andy's gonna stay dead. Number 5, All Hell Breaks Loose, season 3. Andy's death was actually sadder, but I had to put this one up because Prue's death was more of an impact on the entire show. They mentioned it time and time again, and it changed all of what season 4 would have been about if she hadn't died. And It would change the entire series, actually, if she had died. I mean, Andy, yeah, it would change some things in season 2, mostly surrounding Prue. A little bit Piper and Phoebe, too, because they loved him like a brother. But, yeah, so, I think Andy's death did upset me more because I did like him more than Prue. I was never a big Prue or Paige fan. I love how at the very beginning they're trying to save this doctor from Shax, thinking they, but the episode itself is still better. That's why it's up higher. But they thought they defeated Shax when Shax came again, and then Piper and Prue accidentally let everyone know that they're witches. While that's happening, Phoebe's in the underworld trying to save Cole because she figured out that he was under a spell for killing that witch. So she realized he can't be saved, and she was doing that. And Piper ended up getting shot by someone who said she was a witch too, and because she felt like the witches were mean. But I mean, she did just break into their house. Of course they were gonna not be so happy to see you. Like, what the actual heck? That woman was just insane. She shot Piper. Piper ends up dying. Leo was in the underworld, so couldn't help her. Eventually Leo went to see what was going on, to discover that Piper had been shot, and Phoebe made a deal to stay in the underworld if they won round about time. But when they ran out of time, it was the exact same moment when Phoebe was supposed to be in the attic getting the spell, and Shax attacked, killing the doctor this time and harming Prue and Piper. But this time Phoebe wasn't there to save the doctor or call for Leo to heal Prue and Piper before it became terminal. And he was able to save Piper, but Prue was already too gone. I remember when I first watched this show, or this episode, I remember thinking how Prue was the one that died when I thought I saw more blood on Piper. But then after several rewatch, I finally noticed that because they were swung through the house, and if you notice under some wood from their home, there was a pile of blood next to Prue's head. I was like, oh, so she really did lose more blood. I just didn't realize it. But it's not always a matter of blood you lose, depending on how you die. It's just, fractures, I guess. I don't know. For Oh My God, it's parts 1 and 2, season 5. This was a great two-parter. It was incredibly sad. Not because anyone died, but because Piper and Leo split up. But they all had to become a god to destroy the Titans, because last time it took these gods to defeat them this time. But this time, it wasn't the power of all three goddesses. It was Piper and her pain, finding out that Leo was going to become an elder and leave her and Wyatt. And it was too much for her. So she ended up being able to kill them. Just her. That shows how powerful she is. She really became powerful. First 3 seasons, yes, Prue was more powerful, and maybe it was because the oldest, but I honestly believe if Prue had survived, then Piper could have became more powerful than Prue. I mean, that's just my feeling. And maybe I'm also a little bit biased because I love Piper and I always see her as the most powerful. But yeah. But and then they had to find her to convince her to come back for Wyatt, and she goes to see Leo, and then gets her goddess taken out of her, and is all alone. I mean, she's a single mom now. She lost the love of her life, and yeah, she went through a lot. But that's also when they introduced to Chris, and I love Chris. Oh, I love Chris so much. Oh, I can't express how much I love Chris. Okay, moving on before I get into a Chris rant. Number 3, Something Wicked This Way Goes, season 7. This was good. So obviously I had to be in the top 3. Sorry, Oh My God, it's parts 1 and 2. That was so good, but they barely missed to be in the top 3. This one is when they have to finger Sanku, and they didn't see a way out of it. They were Prue before she died, she taught Leo astral projection, so they could teach Piper and Phoebe, who taught Paige, which So they were all able to astral protect and trick him because he had already stole 2 of their powers and stole the house and the book, and he was trying to get into magic school now, which was the only safe place for now. They eventually let him into magic school so that they could trick him, end up back in the house from astral protection, and blow it up, but they knew that there was no way to get out quick enough. Lies. They knew there was. They pretended to die, so the whole world thought they were dead, and they assumed new identities with magic, of course. And that was also Last of Daryl's on, and I think this might be an unpopular opinion, but I actually love the way they kind of sent him on his way. I think he should have been on season 8, but I love the way they sent him off, because when he left that house, it had been explode, and he was all sad. He was like, no, please don't say it, because the girls are like his sisters, you know. But then all of a sudden he sees 3 girls walk by with a guy, and then all of a sudden Phoebe winks at him, and I will always love that scene because he just has this big grin, and he looks up at this guy. He's like, all right. I mean, after losing Prue, who was also like a sister to him, losing the 3 of them and Leo, that would destroy him. I mean, you know, I love how they did that, because it's like I would have hated if they let him think they were dead at the end of the season, but no, he was all like, no, please don't say this is true. And then all of a sudden he just knew it was them, because he knows them so well, and he knows their magic, and he knows that this is something they would do. So he's like, all right. And he was just so happy as he walked away. Okay, number 2. It's a Bad Worlds parts 1 and 2. Another 2-parter where they meet their evil half from an evil world where everything good is bad and everything bad is good. And I love how they said, I love how Phoebe and, this is when Piper was in labor with Chris, and I love how Phoebe and Paige realize that because they knew that Leo and Chris would realize everything bad is good and everything good is bad. So they're like, so Phoebe was like, and if I know Leo, he would go to the best or worst good demon in the world, because the worst demon in their world was Barbas, which means he would be the nicest demon of hope instead of demon of fear. Eventually they had to work with their evil selves to stop Gideon, who was trying to kill Wyatt, but turns out in the future he couldn't kill Wyatt, so Wyatt turned evil all those years defending himself in the underworld. And Krista ends up dying trying to save Wyatt, and that was heartbreaking. I still cry when I see it, because I mean, Leo just freaks out, and it was just so heartbreaking. And that's also how they get, because they were under a spell, because from doing such a great good in the evil world, they unbalanced the world, and now their world was too good and the other world was too evil. There was no balance, and Piper being under the spell when being in the world when it happened was all sunshine, and that's never Piper. She's definitely not the sunshine of all of them. That's probably Phoebe or Paige. They're the best, but so Piper puts them under a spell because of Barbas' influence to make them all sunshine, and Leo telling them that Chris is injured because of Gideon and that he's dying, and when he comes back, and Daryl and that one lady that I hate is there, and Daryl's just like, I'm sorry, and then Leo, this is just, okay, I'm not gonna get off the subject now before I start bawling and talking more about Chris. No more about Chris. You get it, he dies. But something they realized at the end is that he didn't actually die, because he's there. You know, Piper just gave birth to him for the second time. Time travel is confusing. I will never say that enough. I mean, I get a little bit more of an understanding now watching all this time travel show. I mean, they time traveled quite a bit on Charm. Then now I watch Legends of Tomorrow, where it's all about time traveling. So yeah, I'm a little bit more understanding, but it will never stop being confusing. I mean, come on, it's time travel. Number 1, Forever Charmed. Obviously, this had to be number 1. I mean, it's just so amazing. At the episode before Forever Charmed, they tried to defeat Billy and Christy, which caused Christy, Phoebe, and Paige to die. Piper and Billy were left alone, and Leo was able to come back because he had to go until they defeated the great evil, which was Christy. But that's not the way the final battle was supposed to plan out, but it did. And then Piper ended up getting Coop's help because he's a Cupid with his ring, just because you use it to go in time to past loves. And that's what she did. She went to Phoebe and Paige, but instead she ended up getting her mom and grandmother's help. And Penny was hilarious in that episode because they realized that they both died. And then Gramps was like, Gramps is just funny. I love her. She's like, yeah, we're dead. We're both over it. And Penny's like, or Patty's like, speak for yourself. I love Penny. I do. But anyways, but they were able to get them back. But Piper had, I love that scene when they are getting the Nexus out of all 5 of them, and then Piper and Billy are caught up back into themselves, and then everyone else is confused. I mean, Piper and Billy are the only ones that know what happened. Well, Leo, Patty, and Penny too. But then Leo had to go, and that made Piper so sad because she lost him again. It's just heartbreaking. But Billy ends up going all there to actually realize how her sister truly is, and she ends up killing Christy, which actually was sad. I'm not a Billy fan, but that was actually really heartbreaking because Billy really did love her sister and did everything she could to save her from the demons and from being evil, which what the demons turned her into, and so heartbreaking. But then I actually love this finale a little bit more than Buffy's because of all the time travel and the fighting, and then it also showed them their futures. It showed them all with their kids. Piper and Leo obviously had Wyatt and Chris, but they also had a girl which they named Melinda after Melinda Warren, their ancestor. Then Phoebe and Coop had 3 girls, and then Paige and Henry had twin girls and a boy, which they actually mentioned was Henry Jr., right? I always had an idea of what they would name their other kids. Like, I always imagined Phoebe naming a daughter Penny and a daughter Patty for their grandmother and mom. So I have a fan fiction for Charm Next Generation about the kids. If you guys want to check it out on Wattpad, follow me, Adorable JoJo. I'm on book 4, I think, something like that. And I think I'm almost done. I might make one more book after this, but after that I'm probably gonna be done with the series. But yeah, so please check it out if you love Charmed and love to read fan fiction. If you're already on Wattpad, just follow me, Adorable JoJo, and read my Charmed Next Generation story. And that's it. Please like and subscribe and comment what you think are the best Charmed finales.